Most people think they have a pretty good idea of how much money they'll need in retirement. They'll say something like, I think 60,000 a year should be enough. And honestly, that's one of the most dangerous assumptions you can make. Here's why. I once saw a real-life example where a couple believed they only needed about $60,000 per year to retire comfortably. On paper, that sounded reasonable, but once their actual lifestyle was mapped out, travel plans, family visits, hobbies, healthcare, everyday comforts, the real number wasn't 60,000 anymore. It was closer to $100,000 per year. That small planning gap, if it had gone unnoticed, it could have completely destroyed their retirement later. And that's exactly what this video is about. Understanding what retirement really costs, not what we hope it costs. Now, to avoid guessing, financial planners often use a benchmark called the ASFA retirement standard. ASFA stands for the Association of Superannuation Funds of Australia, and it provides a baseline guide for what people typically spend in retirement. It's updated every 3 to 6 months to reflect inflation, so the numbers stay relevant. ASFA breaks retirement into two main categories: comfortable retirement and modest retirement. Let's start with the comfortable one. According to the standard, a comfortable retirement requires about $76,555 per year for couples and around $54,240 for singles. Now, that sounds decent, but what does comfortable actually mean? It covers normal household bills, phone plans, internet, groceries, and basic living expenses. But it also includes things many people don't realize, like some travel and lifestyle upgrades. For example, a comfortable retirement includes one domestic flight per year and one international flight every 7 years. Here's the problem. Most retirees imagine traveling internationally every year, especially in the early years when they're healthy and active. That's where expectations and reality start drifting apart. The comfortable standard also includes multiple streaming services, premium haircuts, gym or exercise subscriptions, fast internet, and modest wardrobe updates, but not constant shopping sprees or luxury brand upgrades. So already you can see how many people think they're planning for comfortable, but are actually budgeting for something much bigger. And that gap? That's where retirement plans quietly fail. In the next part, we'll break down the modest retirement, why it surprises most people, and how different it really is from the lifestyle most retirees want. Now, let's talk about the modest retirement, because this is where expectations really collide with reality. A modest retirement is largely driven by age pension income. According to the same ASFA standard, this comes out to roughly $35,199 per year for a single person and $50,866 per year for a couple. On the surface, that might sound manageable. But once you look closer, the lifestyle differences are massive. In a modest retirement, you're typically limited to basic private health insurance, no extras. That means relying heavily on public healthcare systems and pharmaceutical benefits for medications. Leisure activities become infrequent, not regular. Movies, galleries, events, these happen occasionally, not weekly. The clothing budget is extremely tight. Travel? You might manage one domestic trip per year, maybe a few short local breaks. International travel is not included at all. Even utilities become something you have to carefully manage. Running the air conditioner all day? Probably not. Heating in winter? Only when absolutely necessary. Now, compare that to what many self-funded retirees actually want. A consulting firm called BDO released estimates showing what a $150,000 to $200,000 per year retirement lifestyle looks like, and this aligns far more closely with what professionals expect after long careers. At that level, retirees typically enjoy 1 to 2 luxury international trips per year, often budgeting around $1,000 per day, including travel. Add 1 or 2 domestic trips on top of that. Dining includes high-end restaurants, exclusive venues, and frequent eating out. Clothing often includes designer brands. Transportation might involve multiple newer vehicles, including luxury brands like Audi or BMW. There's also regular home renovations, constant technology upgrades, new phones, new tablets, new TVs, and paid memberships for things like galleries, yacht clubs, or leisure organizations. To support this lifestyle, retirees need over $10,000 per month in tax-free income, usually drawn from superannuation or retirement portfolios. That's a huge jump from comfortable, let alone modest. And this is where many people underestimate retirement the most, not because they want extravagance, but because they want freedom. In the next part, we'll break down the surprising truth about expenses, what actually goes down in retirement, and what quietly goes up instead. Here's something most people don't realize. Retirement doesn't just change how much you spend, it changes where you spend. Let's start with the expenses that usually go down. First, and most importantly, mortgage and loan repayments. Ideally, by retirement, these are either gone or significantly reduced. Next, commuting costs disappear. No daily travel to work means less fuel, fewer train tickets, and no parking fees. Work-related expenses also fade. Things like professional education, career-related fees, and ongoing certifications. Spending on children usually drops as well. By retirement age, most children are financially independent, meaning ongoing support typically ends. You also see reductions in takeaway meals. Without long work days, people cook more at home. Cleaning and gardening costs often fall too, because retirees finally have time to do these things themselves. Even energy costs can drop, surprisingly. Using electricity during daytime off-peak hours is often cheaper than evening peak usage. Now let's talk about what goes up. First, incidental spending. More coffees, more casual lunches, more spontaneous catch-ups. Travel increases significantly, especially in the early years. That includes international trips, domestic travel, road trips, and caravanning. Groceries rise because more meals are eaten at home. Health insurance increases naturally with age. Home maintenance also climbs. When you're home more, you finally fix the things you ignored for years. Entertainment expands. Cinemas, sporting events, galleries, and shows. Fitness costs increase as well, especially gym memberships and social exercise activities. Socializing becomes more frequent. Dinners, drinks, celebrations, they all add up. And finally, insurance premiums continue rising as you age, even though they remain essential. This shift is why retirement budgets fail when people assume expenses simply shrink across the board. They don't. They shift. In the next part, we'll uncover the 3 phases of retirement spending and why timing matters just as much as money. Retirement spending isn't flat. It moved through 3 distinct phases. The first is known as the golden years, usually the first 10 to 15 years after retirement. You're healthy, mobile, and motivated. This is when people travel the most, spend the most, and live fully. During this phase, retirees often spend every dollar they've budgeted. Then come the silver years. Mobility slows. Long international trips become tiring. Travel shifts toward domestic experiences and family time. Spending during this phase can drop by as much as 30%, mostly due to reduced travel. Finally, the legacy years. Travel becomes minimal. Healthcare, home modifications, in-home support, and meal services increase. Spending rises again to about 85% of golden year levels. Now here's where capital really matters. Using retirement calculators with a balanced portfolio of 30% defensive and 70% growth assets, here's what the numbers show. To generate $60,000 per year, a single retiring at 67 needs about $770,000. A couple needs $885,000. Retiring at 60 increases this to $980,000 for singles and $1.265 million for couples. For $80,000 per year, a single needs $1.3 million and a couple needs $1.76 million at age 67. Retiring at 60 pushes that to $1.54 million and $2.11 million. That's a $600,000 to $700,000 difference just to increase income by $20,000 per year. For $100,000 per year, a single needs $1.72 million and a couple needs $2.37 million. Retiring at 60 raises this to over $2 million and $2.78 million. The final rule? Avoid lifestyle creep. Stay informed, control expenses, and invest for both income and growth because 50% of retirement income comes from earnings after retirement, not just starting capital. If you want to retire without stress, the question isn't, how much do I have? It's, how long will it last?